Quick heads up, my masterclass course is having its annual sale right now, and we just opened up an additional 20 spots at that 50% off rate because we weren't expecting the first 20 to sell as fast as they did. These are the same training plans that I personally use with proven results from other riders. Like, you guys remember EJ, Season 2 Couch to Crit? He literally doubled his watts per kilo. So if you want to fast track your progress, grab your spot before this batch sells out too. Scholarships are available, and we have a no questions asked refund policy because I don't want money to be the reason why you can't access the course. So try it out, no risk, and see what you're capable of. I hope to see you in the next coaching session.
That's it. Congratulations, Marshall. So you did it, man. UCI World Medal. That is so amazing. So proud of you, dude. How does it feel?
Oh, it feels amazing. It feels amazing. Standing on the podium was just pure shock. We were versing the US in the final, and I'm sorry to do it to you guys.
Most people listening to this, most of my audience is American. I don't know. I won't hold a grudge. I can't speak on behalf of my audience, but it was a close one. We gave you guys a good run, but amazing result, man. But today we're talking about a crit. You're going to bring your track prowess to an American crit. Of course, this is Chicago Grit, and this is stage 8. Yeah, 8. Man, we're deep into this race. Elgin, should we dive into it?
Let's do it.
Okay, riders are ready.
All right, so quick reminder. You are on Team IdoQ, which is a New Zealand team. And you guys are what? You guys have like 6 riders in the top 10 or something like that at this race. Is that right?
I think that as the days have gone by, we've started to slip, but I think we got about 5 maybe in the top 10.
But not the top spot, which is what everyone focuses on, obviously. Everyone just remembers the winner. And right now it's Richard Hollick on Team Cadence, and they've been doing such a good job. So that's really the focus for the rest of these races. Stage 8 today here on Elgin, and then the final 2 stages is a 10-day Omnium event. It's all criteriums, Chicago Grit. This is an interesting course. Last time they had this race, and I was at Chicago Grit. It was called Intelligentsia, but they had this course, and it was canceled because of thunderstorms. But tell me, there's a little chicane you hit right there, and then you're coming down this hill, and you're going to hit this wicked left-hander going at about 35 miles an hour. Were there any crashes in your field?
Well, not on this corner. There was a crash, but it was just Robin fishtailing going around the chicane, and thankfully he managed to come off not terribly, not unscathed. He didn't come off and too hurt.
Yeah,
he
hopped back into the race later on, but no crash into that kind of scary downhill off-camber left-hander, which I do have footage of somebody going down. If I can find it, I'll insert it right now. How dangerous this corner can be. You can see this guy just flying off into another area code. Like, he's just down in that ravine, like living amongst the forest now. Like, I think he was fine. He ended up coming back. But you don't want to crash like this to wipe out your expensive race bike. And that's why when I get asked the question, Jeff, which race bike should I buy? I usually recommend buying used. But you guys probably know Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, things like that. That can be a complete minefield. Hidden damage from crashes like this, or something that you don't even realize. Like these handlebars, for example, I rewrapped the other day. Underneath the tape, they were completely totaled. And that's why today's video sponsor, Cycle Limited, is such a game changer. They sell certified pre-owned bikes that go through a full inspection to verify the integrity of the frame and all the components. Anything that needs to be replaced gets replaced. Everything gets tuned, cleaned, and then shipped right to your door. Assembly takes just a few minutes. And if you're not completely happy, they have a 14-day return policy. So use my code NorCalJeff75. I'll also link that in the description for an additional discount that you won't find anywhere else. Thanks again to Cycle Limited for supporting this channel. Now back to the race. Anyway, you're off to the races once we pop back over here. Typical Marshall fashion, you're starting off with a bang because your role on the team isn't necessarily a field sprinter. You're more stack breakaways type of rider, yeah?
Yeah. I always find myself just going hell for leather at the start of the race, just all guns blazing, go out shooting or don't go out at all. And then, yeah, I definitely feel it at the end, but yeah.
But this is so valuable as being on a team that does have capable sprinters who can definitely win field sprints. You guys have been doing it at Toad. You were doing it at Chicago Grit. But having a teammate like you who's just like, I'm going to do everything I can to stack a breakaway, to bring back threatening riders, like that is an amazing skill to have. And you're going to demonstrate it here. As we fast forward, it looks like you decide that having one teammate, James, up the road is not enough. When you're good, huh, Marshall? Like, it must be nice to have all this power, 1,300 watts to jump across solo. Look, we always talk about on this channel, do not chase teammates. But if you're going to, you have to do it solo. And that's exactly why you're spending this outrageous amount of energy, 1,300 watts, this early in the race, because you want to make sure you're not dragging anybody with you, right?
Yeah. Don't want to give anyone a free ride across to this break. And
because as your teammate up there, James, looks back, if he sees you and the whole peloton, like you dragging the entire peloton back up to him, I'd be pissed. And he would be pissed, rightfully so. But if it's just you, he's happy. And that's the distinction. Like, oh, cool, I now have a teammate who can help me make this breakaway possible. And that's the plan here.
I would definitely cop it from James if he saw me towing the whole peloton across to him.
Yeah, but you did the right thing, and you did it solo. So, yeah, 98 times out of 100. Don't chase teammates, but if you're going to do it like Marshall just did it. Solo, and then get to the front and step on it, which is what you're doing now, because the purpose of you being in this breakaway is now not to win this race for yourself. It's to get the team win. So now you're up at 550 watts. And you're pulling this group down the hill as fast as possible to give this breakaway the best chance possible. But as we fast forward, unfortunately, you guys do get brought back. But the work isn't done yet because they have called a preem. What is a preem? It is like a race within the race. It's a prize lap. When they ring the bell, the winner of the next lap earns a prize. In this case, do you remember the amount of money on the line?
I think it was a cheeky little 100, to be honest.
Hey, dude, I'd sprint for $100, and that's what you're doing right now. You are getting a pretty solid lead up, but you've done so much work up to this point. But, man, coming up this hill to the finish line, like, the lead out's looking pretty good here by Brody, and you're gonna walk him in the sprint, and you come around him, you're doing less power than you did to solo bridge to your teammate. You think you have it in the bag, but as we look back, it's like, uh-oh, all of a sudden, ooh, down to the bike throw, and who took it?
I ended up taking it, thankfully. We had a running joke for the next 2 days of whoever got it is buying drinks on the final night. But yeah, I ended up getting it.
And did you buy him drinks on the final night?
I did.
Okay,
I got him a drink.
Good man. All right. And that gives you the opportunity to drop back and rest for a bit. And when I say rest for a bit, like a couple of minutes, because your work isn't done, Marshall. Again, your role on the team is to be chasing things back, be stacking breakaways, and to give your sprinters the easiest ride possible. So you're back up into position, and you're going to do this effort on the right-hand side. I love when this line opens up, especially coming into a feature. Like, this chicane's not the biggest thing in the world, but you definitely want to be first through it if possible, because taking the choice line through here, I mean, you don't have to use any brakes. You can see your fingers there. You can just stay on the speed and conserve that speed down this hill into the left-hander. But the work you're doing here isn't a solo effort because there's a little group off the front, right?
I don't think the camera picked it up, but there was actually one of my teammates behind me calling for me to get across to that move. So that's why I've launched a move to try and get across to it.
Okay, so one of your teammates identified this thread up the road, and they're like, Marshall, do your thing, your 600 watt sustained thing, and you're like, all right, no problem. And you bring it back. It looks like who's this rider in front of you? That's Summerhill,
Danny.
right? Yeah. So it looks like Summerhill kind of picks up the pace, and then as we look back with the 360 cameras, suddenly like things are happening in this moment. That group of two's brought back, but there's your teammate jumping across to Danny. We have Tyler. We have Lucas. We have the guys on the teams represented. Like, those are the major threats. And most notably, it's missing somebody that we called out at the very top, which is Richard Hollick, the overall leader. So having a teammate, is that Keegan up the road, by the way? No, that's James Wilson.
That's James.
Right.
Yeah.
So having James, who's in the top 10, up there with a breakaway that doesn't contain Hollick, the overall race leader, this is a win for you guys. You guys are happy with this composition, right?
Yeah, this is a win. James is in the top 3, so he's going to end up getting a couple more points on Hollick, which is good.
Even better. And by the way, that arrow we put on that rider, I think it was number 42. He is the fifth and final rider to make the breakaway, which makes it Lucas Burgoyne on Cadence, James Wilson, Mito Q, Tyler Williams on the Blazers, Danny Summerhill, of course, on Legion, and then that final rider, his also name is James, on Good Guys. For what ends up being the breakaway of the day. 5 riders, gives you guys a chance to sit back, relax, happy with the composition. Let's fast forward and see how the end of this race shakes out. But not before taking a break right here at 32 kilometers to go, because this funny thing happens. We have this team in front. This is Foundation Cycling in the black, white, and red. And as we fast forward, you can see this is a good demonstration of kind of how brutal this sport is. They're chasing desperately because they notably missed out. We just called out the breakaway composition, the teams, the riders, and I did not mention Foundation Cycling, and that's why they're on the front chasing. They're doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing, but it's like this is the brutal fact of bike racing. It's very difficult, and if you miss a move, you end up in this position where you're chasing. The funny moment comes right about here, where after taking, I don't know, he was on the front for a lap and a half, 2 laps. Clever looks back, he sees you, your smiling face, Marshall, and he's like, oh, crap. Like, he knows you're not going to help because you're not going to chase teammates, right? Like, that's just not going to happen. So, anyway, sport is brutal. Sorry, Foundation, for not making the breakaway, but them's the breaks. Let's fast forward one more time, see how the end of this race plays out. All right, Marshall, still on Clever's wheel, by the way. We are now 7.5 kilometers to go, closing few laps. What's the plan here? Moving up on the right, it looks like.
Yeah, I think the plan was just to get back to the front and mark some more teams and follow some moves. But I can see that those 2 riders going off the front, and I'm just trying to reel them back in.
Yeah, and in fact, I think I just saw one more in front too. There's one more rider up there. Yep, one more rider kind of dangling. You got a little carrot on a stick up there, Marshall. And here's the thing, like, you guys might be wondering, like, why would you, at 7 kilometers to go, be on the front? And sometimes this is more efficient, right? We talk a lot about how to save energy and stay efficient in bike racing. It's not all about staying in the draft. On crits, sometimes it makes sense to be on the front because you can make your effort much more consistent and deliberate, and it's on your terms. So, like, if you were mid-pack coming through the chicane, for example, and somebody took a bad line, somebody overlaps wheels, you could be on the brakes and then have to sprint back up to speed. Or worse, you could be caught behind a crash. Being on the front sometimes is the more efficient way of riding. Now, you have to have the watts to back it up, and you certainly do, Marshall. So it's not for everybody, but the most efficient place to be isn't always in the draft, I guess, is the point I'm making. And coming up this hill, I mean, you kind of just have to dump watts. Otherwise, everybody is going to pass you. So instead of doing 1,200 watts, though, you're doing 700. And it's just more of a drawn-out effort. And we know that consistency is efficiency in bike racing. But you probably don't want to stay up here for the next 6 kilometers, right? I mean, you want to drop back at some point.
Yeah, I should probably drop back and find the rest of my team. But I think I just got in my head. I need to get this one rider down. I just wasn't having a good day, so I'm gonna take my anger out on this one guy, and he isn't getting away from me.
Yeah, it is kind of wild that he is like kind of just dangling up there. He doesn't look like he's getting any further away from you, but despite your efforts, he's also not really getting closer. Like you're not pulling him back, and right there it looks like you're like, all right, you win, and then you swing off to the left. And I would say, if I were to be hypercritical, is like you probably drop back a little bit too far right here. With only 5.5 kilometers to go, you probably don't want to be outside of the top 10 or 12 this deep into the race.
Yeah, I totally agree.
But the good news is you just saw the riders come by, and we know that there's a successful breakaway already. 30 seconds, 45 seconds, something up ahead, who's not going to get caught at this point. And that means there's really not much team control. You know, if you pulled off to the left and I saw like 7 Legion riders on the front organizing a field sprint lead out, then you really need to be focused on staying as close to the tail end of that lead out as possible. But when there's kind of no control and there's a bunch of teams, everyone has individual ambitions. And in these circumstances, it's generally a lot easier to make up position, even if you're kind of caught out here like you are, Marshall, with 5 kilometers to go, further back than you want to be. It's okay. You can make up that ground when there isn't so much control on the front, because it's just not going to be as fast. A dedicated lead out, you guys have, you'll have riders whose entire job it is to dump all of their power and speed, from like 4 kilometers from the finish line to 3 kilometers to the finish line. They'll just go as hard as they can for like a whole lap. And then in those circumstances, it's single file. It's so hard to make up ground. But you can see now it's all clumped up, right? We're like 6 riders wide coming into corner number 1. This is the point I was making, is like if it were super fast and there's a lead out, it would be single file, almost impossible to make up ground. But here, if you find really good gaps, find good wheels to follow, then you can make up position and find yourself back into the right position to uncork a sprint. But I see some of your teammates now moving up on the left. Is that Sam?
Yeah, that's Sam.
And at a certain point, you do want to link up with your teammates, because let's not forget about objectives here. You're putting all of your stock into James up the road, but for the win on the stage. But you guys are also looking out for your GC position in the overall competition. So you guys are still going to orchestrate a lead out here in the closing laps, I imagine, right?
Yeah. We know that they're a considerable amount up the road, so us doing a lead out now wouldn't bring them back. It wouldn't take points away from James up the road. So it's basically just trying to help out Keegan, who's 3rd on GC, and get him the best result he can.
Right. I should probably put more of an emphasis on that. You brought it up, but it's worth repeating that, people might be confused. Like, why would you guys do a lead out with a teammate up the road? Aren't you chasing teammates? It's like, well, not really. I mean, technically, yeah, like you're on the front chasing and there's a teammate up the road, but you guys wait until there's no chance of it being brought back. Like, you're not going to do a lead out so early and so hard that you're going to chase your teammate back in the breakaway. It's mostly to look out for your GC position for position 6 and beyond, because that's what you're fighting for. Top 5 positions are already established in the breakaway. First place from the field sprint is going to be 6th place, and you guys want that because of the GC points that go like 20 deep. Is that right?
All the way down to 20th place.
Right. So yeah, you guys want to gobble up those points, and you're still kind of out of position to make that possible. We're 3 laps to go, and you're going to look for an opportunity, I imagine, to do so efficiently. But if it's too late, then you just have to pop out in the wind and move up, even if that's like your final matches. Are you looking for a specific point on the course to make that possible?
Well, I feel like you're kind of just locked into position down through this part of the course, and the only real place you can move up is that long straight. But you don't want to do a big effort when everyone's sprinting up the hill. You want to wait till the pace is kind of eased off, it starts flattening off and everyone starts getting complacent. That's where I like to move up, just after the finish line, either on the right or left-hand side.
Right.
And you'll see it soon.
Yeah, totally. And as we approach that moment, we're coming up the hill right now. You see we're approaching the finish line. It's the exact same way at Cat's Hill. Here, the local race in Northern California, there's super steep hill, and really the work to move up in position is done right after the hill. Those who have raced Cat's Hill know what I'm talking about. So now we're flattening off through the finish line, and this is where you're making up the ground exactly like you just described. And man, you're making up so much ground, and this is what's possible when there isn't a ton of control on the front. And there you go, promised land. Your 3 teammates. Who are these guys on the front?
That's James on the front, Sam 2nd wheel, and Keegan 3rd wheel.
So perfect. So you're almost in sweeper position now for Keegan, lucky number 13. Aren't you supposed to flip the 13 upside down? Isn't that like a thing that you're supposed to do?
Yeah, you are. I'm surprised he hasn't.
I didn't know if that was just
Not
an
a
American
superstitious
thing.
guy, I guess. Yeah.
So you're sweeper for Keegan now. This is looking so good. You make it look easy, man. What he just did, you guys, what Marshall just did on the outside there, just to move up slot in right behind his team, is really difficult, and it takes an immense amount of timing, power, and control to make that possible. So kudos to make that work and get right behind your teammates. Coming through, you can see how much easier it is coming through that chicane when you're just behind teammates in a single file formation like this. Down the hill, you don't have to be right on the wheel in order. You're not wasting energy. You're doing 0 watts. They're doing 0 watts. You're just going to try to carry so much speed through this corner. How did you feel? It's a little bit off camber. The camera doesn't really do it justice. That can be a scary corner.
I was nervous taking this corner. I was not a fan of it at all. I definitely took it a lot safer than a lot of other people. Because I didn't want to end up in down in the bush, down off the side of the road.
In another area code down in the ravine, like that other guy that I showed. Yeah, and all it takes is somebody pushing you a little bit wide, and like it's really hard when you're off camber like that. These roads are crowned in the Midwest, and you can really lose control of traction on your tires real fast. So we just talked through something. Let's actually back up just for a second. All right, so we're coming through 1 lap to go, and there's going to be an epic battle on your left-hand side with the Cadence boys, because this is Luke, and then, of course, behind him is Richard Hollick, the overall leader, and they're trying to win the inside into corner number 1, and you guys don't want them to win the inside of corner number 1. You're yelling at your teammates left, but they just don't close the door quite enough, and they do end up taking, the Cadence boys do end up taking the inside on you guys. And you can see Richard Hollick does such a good job here just to use his body, his position on the road to assert the inside corner. And it's always faster on the inside. Inside's always preferable to the outside. You can control the space. You can take a shorter line. And as a result, you're shuffled back like 4 wheels, and you can no longer meaningfully contribute to your teammates up the road, which is kind of a bummer, huh? At this point in the race, 550 meters to go.
Yeah, I'm kind of just locked into a position back here where just getting prime real estate to be able to watch the sprint. Yeah, I'm kind of just out of it, really.
Out of contention, yeah, and you were yelling left, but it was just a little bit too late for your teammates to close the door on corner number 1, and the Cadence boys do get up there. Now we get to see kind of how things unfold. You take a safe line through that terrifying left-hander the last lap, and then you're just coming up the hill and just going to uncork all the watts. And are you going to make a couple of passes? I do think you come around clever, right? Not quite. But the truth is, the break was already up the road fighting for the win. And if we check out the overhead drone shot, shout out Ron Short, by the way, over at Short Cycles for providing. Go follow him if you guys aren't already. The break is playing games. Like, big time. They have a big gap. First, you can see Lucas skipping turns. I don't know why on earth you would allow the national champ to start skipping poles in the breakaway, especially this close to the finish. And this is what I love about the end of these bike races. When it comes down to a selection like this, the cat and mouse, there's a big enough gap. And this is the game. You're trying to spend as little energy on the front as possible. And if you fast forward a little bit, we can see Marshall, your teammate James, doing the same thing. And finally, Tyler Williams from the Blazers has had enough, and he launches an attack. Unfortunately for him, that eventually gets brought back, and that brings us into the final lap where Lucas finds himself kind of stuck on the front. But here's the thing. It's not his first rodeo. The pace has slowed so much that he's not having to push through that much wind. They're not worried about getting caught from behind by the field anymore. Another way to look at it is the benefit of the draft in Lucas's wheel at these lower speeds is much less. So by the time they get through the technical section of the course, that left-hander, and they hit the bottom of the climb for the last time, Lucas just steps on it. Inside of 200 meters to go, and he basically shows why he's the national champion. Nobody can match his speed, his power. Nobody can come around him. He honestly just makes it look easy. He even has time to check back and post up for the win. So huge congrats to Lucas, but let's check back the overall results here. Lucas Burgoyne taking the win from Cadence Cycling, of course, national champion. Tyler Williams from the Blazers behind him, a California native, shout out Northern California. Danny Summerhill from Legion. Your teammate James coming in 4th. And then the other James from Good Guys. And then from the field sprint, we had Hollick with that epic inside line through corner number 1, showing that it paid off. He won the field sprint for 6th. Then Brody, then your teammate Keegan, and your teammate Sam ended up rounding out the top 10. So, I mean, it's funny because, like, I'm like, hey, that's amazing. You guys stacked a bunch of riders in the top 10, but you guys have a different standard on MitoQ, huh? You probably weren't super thrilled with this result.
No, I mean, a top 5 is good, but it kind of ended our streak of being on the podium each day.
Well, maybe you guys can remedy that. You know, we have 2 more stages left, and we're going to cover those on this channel. So get subscribed if you guys want to see those. And if you want to see more of Marshall, thanks again, man, for taking the time. And congratulations on your podium achievement at Worlds. That is crazy to say, man. That is insane.
Thanks, Jeff. It means a lot to be on the channel, and Means a lot to be standing on the podium at Worlds. Thank you.
Cool, man. All right. We'll talk to you guys soon.
See ya.